I'd like to call the order of the Atchison County Board of Commission to order. It's we're meeting via Zoom. Commissioner Noll, would you say the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
I have. I'd make a motion to accept as written.
So
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Seconded by Commissioner Paul. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 3-0. Reports to elected, commissioner comments and committee reports.
I have none this week.
I have none.
The only thing I had a comment on is yesterday I started to go through and get ready to pay my taxes, which is never a fun time for me, but or others. I'm sure you can feel my pain. But I decided to go on the online portal and pay my taxes. And it was really amazing how simple it was. They charged me $2 for a service fee. The money's out of my account, of course, this morning. But it's in this pandemic, it may be a real good choice for people to consider doing the online payment for your property taxes. New business before the board. Wesley Lanter, Sparks Grant payout approval.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
We are ready for our third payout for the Sparks Small Business Grants. I emailed you each the document explaining the payout that we have for this third round. The businesses that we're paying out to are Atchison Hospitality Group, High Nails, and the Humane Society of Atchison. The total check amounts for all three of those would be $18,491.73. And I just need the commission's approval to go ahead and pay out those three grants.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
Also
I
move.
so move.
It's
I'll
been moved
second
by
it.
Commissioner Knowles, seconded by Commissioner Paul. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 3-0.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Anything else, Wes?
That's all I have for today.
Okay. Old or unfinished business before the board? I don't know of any. Does anybody have anything to bring up? Okay, county councilor update. Okay, there he comes.
I'm here. All right. Well, you guys want to talk about the tax sale?
Absolutely.
You got to me a little quicker. Okay. Well, we started this tax sale proceeding with 113 tracts of land. And then, of course, after we file, and that represented, by the way, $949,787 in delinquent taxes, or actually not all of those taxes were delinquent. Each of the properties had delinquent taxes. I say not all of those taxes were delinquent because taxes for 2019 would have been included in the amounts, but those taxes were not yet delinquent. But of course, they're included in the sale. But $949,787 worth of outstanding taxes. Since the filing of that case, we have worked at trying to get notice to everyone that may claim an interest in the property. And we've had good luck doing that. I'd say better luck than we typically have. And there's a couple reasons for that. One of those is that we've gotten a lot of the dregs from prior sales off of the delinquent tax rolls. And so those are, it's typically harder to find people when the taxes have been delinquent for a long time. And we've gotten a lot of those removed, most of those removed. There are still some more. But we've had 50 out of those 113 tracks that have been removed so far. 25 of those were removed because of agreements reached with payment agreements that were reached with the county treasurer. And that's under authority that she has to enter into those agreements. Those agreements include the payment of all of the costs that we'd have of the sale, and typically require that all of the taxes be paid within a period, all of the delinquent taxes and current taxes all the delinquent taxes be paid within a period of a year, and the current taxes be current going forward. And so there are 50 of those properties. Several of those are already paid. And I don't keep track of that part to tell you how many of those 25 were already paid. There are 19 of them that were dismissed because they were paid or redeemed. That is, there were a couple of them where the taxes were paid actually before the people were served, or before within a few days of the filing of the case. And those were typically just dismissed if they were paid before our efforts had anything to do with collection. There were 4, I believe, that were dismissed due to bankruptcy filings. There was actually one that was dismissed because your county counselor was a little too aggressive in identifying properties, and this was a property where one year had been paid between the time that we initially worked on identifying the list and the time of filing, and I just hadn't noticed that. So that property wasn't actually eligible for the sale at the time that at the time of filing, although it was eligible for the sale at the time we sent it out for abstracting. Anyway, that leaves us with 64 tracks that are remaining to be sold at the tax sale when we have it. I have sent, there were, I think, 4 or 5 answers that were filed by some entity or person that may claim an interest in the property. I've communicated with each of the attorneys for them. I don't think we have any disputes or disagreements with any of them. And so I've sent a proposed journal entry, a proposed order to each of the attorneys to make sure that we're all on the same page there. Also, we have mailed out by certified mailing several summonses and petitions, and we don't have all of those back yet. And I'm not really sure why, because they were mailed out 30 to 45 days ago. And they don't typically take that long to come back. I don't know if that's unusual for the post office to take that long. So the next step will be the filing of a motion for a default judgment and giving notice to the claimants that have not filed answers. But that notice is done simply by regular mail, So it's not nearly the undertaking, although there is some significant expense involved with doing that. But giving them an opportunity to come forward and explain to a judge why judgment shouldn't be granted if that's their position. And that frequently brings on another wave of properties being redeemed and thus removed from the sale. I've not set a date for the sale, and that's partially because waiting on the service of process that was done by certified mail, because I think we do have good addresses for several of those people. In fact, I've talked to a couple of them on the phone, but I don't have back the green cards to prove to the court that we have good service on those. But certainly by the end of December, that motion will be filed. And then after we'll have a court date, and at the court date, we don't know what's going to happen because we don't know if no one shows up, the court just signs our order. But if there are people that appear and have some issue, the court may very well give them time, or may set a hearing to handle those. And so we can't really set the next thing to happen until that domino falls, unless we give enough time that if somebody has a dispute, that we would either just dismiss that tract or leave enough time that it could be handled. And I don't think that's the quicker way to do it. I think it's quicker to wait and see whether it's necessary. And then we'll have after we have judgment, and there are 2 weeks after that where a person can pay the judgment and have the property still removed from the sale. And then after that 2 weeks passes, we can file an application for an order of sale. When the court grants the order of sale, there's another publication requirement that goes into the newspaper, and the date of the sale is set. And we're not sure how that sale is to be conducted in these COVID times. We certainly would not want to have it just at the courthouse. If we are going to have in person, I would think we would want to have at least the ability for people to bid over a Zoom meeting or something like that. I haven't discussed it much with I haven't discussed it at all with the court on what the court is going to require for that. But if you have thoughts about how to conduct that sale remotely, I'd be interested.
I think you should look at a hybrid model, Pat.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
I don't know what the other commissioners think, but that's my thoughts.
And I'm thinking maybe Memorial Hall might be a good place if we're going to have some people that would be there in person, because there's a lot of room there for people to spread out, more so than there would be at most other places I can think of. But I haven't talked with them about well, I guess we don't have a schedule yet, but haven't talked to them about whether or not we could, to the trustees, about whether or not we can use the building for that purpose. So if there are questions about the process or about where we are in it, I'd be happy to try to answer any of those.
I have a question. Are the certified letters mostly sent to people in the Atchison area?
No, none of them are sent to the people in the Atchison area. The sheriff does service a process in the county, and they're mostly sent to people that are at a distance. It's sort of hit or miss on how good a job other law enforcement, other sheriff's offices do on getting service of process. Some of them, particularly the smaller the county, I think the better they are at getting service of process. But Atchison County Sheriff does a good job of it, and I don't want to leave that impression. But we typically try to do by certified mail out of state and out of county, but within the state of Kansas, if we don't have any luck with the local sheriff getting service. So we generally try the local sheriff first in Kansas, and we try certified mailing outside the state of Kansas first.
Pretty detailed process, isn't it?
I couldn't hear that, Jack.
It's a pretty detailed process, the whole process.
It is, and it's getting simpler as well. I mean, with having done it as often as we have, we have only 4 properties that had more than $20,000. Five properties had more than $20,000 in taxes outstanding at the time of filing, and that's a fraction of what it had been in prior sales, because we had some properties that had more than 10 years worth of taxes before that had been removed for one reason or another, and we've gotten rid of most of those. So
What is the status of the large properties to the north? Is that currently, they're currently on, aren't they?
it is. That's the former juvenile correctional facility property. It is still included, although you'll recall that those claimants had appeared, or a group of them had appeared before this board and had asked to be removed and from the sale, and the commission's direction to me was to go ahead and dismiss that after they commenced their own foreclosure case. And they have commenced their own foreclosure case at this point. But in speaking with their attorney, he had asked that we leave it on the sale at least for now, as I think probably for strategic reasons, but that it was maybe treated a little more seriously by the owners, or that was the thought that it might be. But it is currently still on the sale, although if they request that it be removed, I've been instructed to remove it. So that would be my intention, to remove it if they make that request.
So they have or have not requested yet,
They have not requested that it be removed.
but they have filed the motion that they needed to file for court proceedings.
Right, they filed a separate lawsuit for foreclosure of the mortgage, and there is litigation going on about that. And I'm notified of it, and I appear for it and participate, but we don't have much of a. We're not involved in most of the claims that are involved in their proceeding.
Any more questions of Pat? Any questions of us, Pat?
No. I will get asked a million times about the date of the sale. I would predict it would be St. Patrick's Day-ish. And we'll certainly shoot for that as the goal. But we won't know until after the court grants judgment.
Right. kind of the COVID anniversary?
Yeah,
Okay, at least the first anniversary.
yes,
Uh,
right.
Okay, anything else, Pat?
Yeah, that's all I have on the tax sale. If there are questions about something else, we could talk about them. So that's all I have.
Mr. Paul?
Being we have the COVID and stuff, I think it'd be easier to explain the rules if it was face to face. Would it help to have the sale in 2 days to cut down on some of the crowds? Or would that make it worse?
Well, I don't know that it would cut down all that much on the number. You know, we have, what did I say, 60 some. I expect probably 10 of those at least to come off. I don't think the sale's going to take several hours or anything like that. I would expect the sale to take approximately an hour.
I think the key is having enough social distancing or Zoom or whatever hybrid.
No.
Right. Yeah, that absolutely is the key.
Okay, any more business before the board? There's no public here, so no public comment. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn at 1:22 p.m.
Also move.
It's been moved by Commissioner Knoll, seconded by Commissioner Paul. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Let's see you next week.